We all have those days where we've been planning all week that we're going to paint on Saturday. We're, telling ourselves, I'm going to get so much done. I can't wait. And then Saturday comes around and we don't really feel like painting. We just can't seem to get around to it. It feels like a big chore. Our studio's messy. We don't really know what to paint. Our brushes are crusty. We're out of that color. We're out of palette paper. Our canvases are textured and we need to sand them first. Like there's a million things that are preventing us from painting. And it's just like not in the cards, and it's really stressing us out because all week we were planning on doing it and we were like hyping it up in our head, romanticizing it. Then it comes around and it just like doesn't work out, and it feels like fighting an uphill battle. We just can't get around to doing it, whether it's a mental block, physical block, energy block, whatever it is, it's not going to happen. First of all, I think we should expect those days to happen like 1/5 of the time, or, like at least a couple times a month. I mean, we're going to have bad days. And sometimes we have days where we do paint and it's just everything's terrible. Like we hate what we do, we make a mess, like whatever. There's going to be bad days with painting and with being an artist. But I will say that on those days that we don't want to paint, but we want to do something creative, and we have the time and capacity to do something, but just not like full paint, then there are other things that we can do that will still feel like we're moving the creative ball forward and we're still getting something done. We're still expressing ourselves creatively and feeling like we're learning and growing. So here's the things that I do on those days where I don't want to paint, but I want to do something creative that is supporting my art journey. Planning the photos I'm going to paint is a big one for me. I do paint from photos, and I like to either paint photos that I took for the most part, and then sometimes I'll paint photos from like free, royalty-free reference sites. There's all these Facebook groups, actually. I just learned about this. They're amazing, where photographers post their photos for artists and you can just paint them. So if I really want to paint like a beach one day, but I don't have a recent beach photo, I can go in one of these groups. You can also go to like Unsplash or Pixabay, Pexels, like other royalty-free sites, and find a photo. But yeah, I like to always have like a stock of photos in my camera roll that I want to paint. However, I don't always want to paint like every one of those photos. I'm, in different mindsets all the time. So like right now, I'm kind of in the mood to paint flowers, but maybe, in a month, I'll be in the mood to paint forests or beaches. So if I don't want to paint that day, but I want to paint really soon, I will go and I'll pick, 3 photos out of my camera roll or online somewhere, and I will get those ready. I'll crop it, edit it if I need to, and just like have it ready at the top or bottom of my camera roll so that it's easy to see. Or I'll even like put it up on my computer, have it on my desktop ready. So then when I go to paint tomorrow or the next day, it's like ready for me. I know I like the photo. I know I'm in the right headspace for that photo to paint, and it's all set up. This process takes me a long time for some reason. Like figuring out what to paint is one of the most time-consuming things for my process. So doing this ahead of time is actually so crucial and really helpful. So it actually does feel like I'm moving the ball forward, even if I'm not painting. Another big thing is like photographing work. So photographing my artwork does take a little while, and obviously like cropping, editing the colors a bit, and even uploading it to your site or whatever. All of that is a perfect thing to do on a day where you don't want to paint and you need just something to move the ball forward. See what pieces you have that you haven't photographed, or that you haven't, cropped and edited, added to your website, or even posted on Instagram or something. Like, are there any works that you can go photograph and do that with? Or maybe you've already photographed all your paintings, but you haven't, taken nice videos of them. So you could just take slow videos of your artwork to, add to your website or something like that, or to use for content. Just really digitizing your artwork in general and making sure, you have copies of every single painting that's a really high quality raw image. I think that's super important, in making sure you have it stored and your folders are organized, all of that. So that's something I really like to do if I just need, something to do, but I don't want to paint. So this one is really relevant to me lately, but I have like all of these paintings in my basement that I don't like. A lot of paintings in my basement. that are from a few years ago. I don't like them. I want to paint over all of them. They're really nice canvas, so I don't want to throw them away, but I just like, they have a lot of texture on them and they need to be sanded first, unfortunately, which takes a while. And also sanding, you have to do it outside, or at least I do, with a mask and everything. And so you have to have good weather. So I've just been like putting it off forever, but I really want to paint over those canvas because they're nice. So that's something I've been doing recently is if I have a few hours, I don't want to paint, I need something to do, take some outside, put the mask on, sand. So it's just like a blank slate and it's ready for me to paint over. So that's a big one. It's like prepping canvas. It could be gessoing your canvas if that's something you do, or stretching your canvas if that's something you do. I don't do either of those because I just buy like pre-made canvas usually. If you like to paint like a burnt sienna underpainting and let it dry first, that's something awesome. You could paint a bunch of those, let them dry, and then they're all ready for you for the next time. Another thing to do if you don't feel like painting, but you want to move the ball forward creatively, is deep cleaning your brushes. So that's a big one for me. If I haven't deep cleaned them in a while, then I will let them soak in Winsor Newton Brush Restorer and Cleaner, I think it's called. I will let them soak in there for like an hour and then clean them with like Dawn soap. I don't use solvents regularly, but I like to deep clean like a couple times a year maybe. And that's just really nice because then the next time that you show up to paint, your brushes are like super clean and beautiful and nice. And you'll always be, glad you did it. Another thing you can do if you don't feel like painting, but you want to be creative, is watch art tutorials or art tip videos. So if there's something that I've been avoiding learning how to paint, like trees or clouds or something, and I'm like, ooh, I really need to try to paint those, I'll just watch some tutorials. And I don't have to paint that day, but I can kind of just store the knowledge for later and just try to soak up, a few videos and see what they're doing and take note for later. Or I'll watch some art videos, Paint Coach is a guy I love on YouTube. He's amazing. I'll just watch some of his videos. I always learn something from his videos. So find someone you like and just watch a video. It could be like tips for landscape painting, or tools that you can use in your painting practice, or how to treat edges in your painting, anything. Go watch something that feels relevant or interesting to you, and you'll be learning and you'll feel like, you're really doing something for yourself creatively that day, because you are. Something else you can do if you don't feel like painting that day, but you want to feel like you're moving forward, is take inventory of your current artwork. Really think about like what's working and what's not working. What are people responding to well? What are people liking? What are they not liking as much? You could ask people in your life, like, out of these 10 paintings, what is your favorite? Like, give me your first instinct. That is super helpful. And that's always insightful because the things that I think people are gonna like, it's always like something totally different. Or if you use like Pinterest or something for your artwork, like I do, it's really interesting to see like who clicks the most on certain paintings and what people seem to like the most online. But I find that once in a while, just taking inventory and thinking about like, okay, I kind of want to incorporate more of these elements because it seems like people really like them. And that in turn makes me want to paint that more, and it makes me like it even more. People are going to enjoy it. Obviously, you want to make art for yourself, but you also want to make art for other people if you want to sell your work or just share it and you want people to enjoy it on their walls or something. It's helpful to see what people respond to. And sometimes I find that, I strayed away from certain subject matter or ways of painting that people actually really like, and I want to go back to those. So I think sometimes having that time and space to think about it, where you're not just always painting, but you're actually assessing your work too, can be really helpful because you can kind of, just ponder about how you're feeling about the landscape of your artwork and what you want to do more of and less of. And then just like some quick things you can also do, you can varnish. That's a big one. If you have paintings that aren't varnished, I keep a log on my computer, which is really helpful so I don't over varnish or something. I always have paintings that I haven't varnished yet. Make sure you photograph before you varnish. It just is better that way, less glare. Or I will clean my space. That's a big one. Always cleaning, vacuuming, mopping my space so that it's nice for when I do want to paint. Taking inventory of what I'm actually like out of, like, am I getting low on things like palette paper or canvas or paint colors, paint brushes? Are there any tools that I've been meaning to buy that I really need? Do I want to research like a new type of, paper to paint on, or new like colors that I want to buy at the store, something like that. And then finally, the last thing you could do if you don't want to paint that day, but you still want to be creative, is doing small sketches or studies. You can, think of ideas for larger paintings and then maybe do like a small little study to get the layout prepared for your larger painting later, and just see kind of what layout, what colors are working, if you even like that subject matter. Like say there's a landscape photo in your camera roll that you want to paint, but you're unsure about it, do some small little studies and see if it's working. Or do some practice paintings. Like if you want to paint a portrait in your next painting, but you're not very good at eyes, you're not super practiced with your eye painting, then do some little small paintings of eyes and watch a few tutorials. If you like this video, please like and subscribe. I'd love to have you here in my world. And check out my prints below. And if you need art supplies, I have like a million things down below. Thanks so much for watching and being here. I hope you have a wonderful day, and I'll see you later. Bye.